Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Penfield Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded and is being broadcast live on the Town of Penfield's website, www.penfield.org. It's also on the Town of Penfield's Government Access Channel 1303 and on streaming media devices such as Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Feel free to search Penfield TV in your device's app store because it is free. If you'd like to address the board on any public matter, a hearing matter, there will be specific public participation opportunities for each matter after the board responds to the applicant's presentation with its questions and concerns. Anyone that is viewing the public hearing remotely and wishes to address the board can participate by phone by calling 340-8771 or by submitting an electronic comment or question at penfield.org. Each and every month we all like to say that the town, we think, does a good job of making sure people are aware of the agenda so that they can come in or they can comment electronically or over the phone on applications. The town does this by posting agendas here at the town hall and on the website, by sending out postcards if you live nearby a property that's being considered on an application, by having the applicant post signs on the property so when you drive by you can see what's going on. And again, we appreciate and welcome anybody's comment on that. For tonight's meeting, we're going to take care of some tabled matters and some regular business, and then we'll proceed right into the public hearings. We will ask the applicant and any representatives to come up to one of these tables and just give us name and address for the record. And then typically what we'll do is we'll have the board walk the applicant through the application. We've received written applications from every applicant. They're very thorough. The board has reviewed them. So we like to have the board walk people through it just so we can be a little bit more efficient. Having said that, I will let everybody know that everyone is free to comment as they wish, as fully as they wish. We certainly don't want anyone to feel that they're being cut off at all. So feel free to comment as you choose. And having said all this, I'd ask everyone to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we start, for the second meeting in a row, I would like to introduce a new member to the board. Laura Eichenseer is to the far right. She joins us for the first time tonight. George joined us last month, so we have a new look to the board, but welcome.
Thank you very much.
We think it's a nice board. It's a board that works well. Staff helps us. They're fantastic. We get a lot of good input from the public, so glad to have you on board, and welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so may we have the first application, please?
You want to go over the tabled ones first?
Oh, we should do that, yes. I'm rushing to but guess what, folks? You'll understand why, because the tabled matters are all going to continue to be tabled, right?
Yes, they are.
So let's take the first tabled matter.
Should we do the minutes?
Well, how about, yeah, thank you.
I was going to do the minutes after the tabled matter. Wow.
Is this your first meeting?
It feels like it. It does feel like. We've had so much change here that I'm not sure how to handle it. But sure, let's go over the minutes, which have been adequately prepared, and everyone's had a good opportunity to review them. Any comments on those? No. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, first tabled matter. 4 people with me, and sometimes I feel all alone up here. Go ahead.
Okay. Amy Catalano, Vital Signs, 764 Ridge Road, Webster, New York, 14580. On behalf of Genesee Valley Physical Therapy, requests approval for a special use permit for signage under Section 250-10.3-A of the code to allow a second building-mounted sign, whereas a maximum of one building-mounted sign is permitted under Section 250-10.13-C of the code at 2200 Penfield Road. Property is currently or formerly owned by Penfair Plaza LLC and is zoned general business. SBL number 140.01-1-3.1, application number 21Z-0057.
All right. I understand both this tabled application and the next one, the applicants have requested that they continue to be tabled.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion to table both of them. Is there any further discussion on that for the same reasons they've been tabled before? And at the request of the applicants.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of tabling both? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. So we approve the meeting minutes. So let's move to tonight's agenda and see if we have any questions for clarification purposes only. First application, the pizza parlor. Anybody have any questions on that for clarification?
No. No.
How about number 2? Anyone? No. All right. And number 3?
No.
And then finally, number 4? Nothing. Okay. They are, again, as I said earlier, we do have very thorough written applications. We reviewed them all, and let's then proceed to the public hearing. First application, please.
Donna DiMarzo, 282 Shiftsbury Road, Rochester, New York, 14610. Requests approval for a conditional use under Section 250-13.3 and Section 250-5.7-C1A of the code to allow the operation of a restaurant, the Pizza Shop at 1601 Penfield Road. The property is currently or formerly owned by Penfield TK Owner LLC and is zoned general business. This is SBL number 138.08-1-2./PLZA. This is application number 22Z-0007.
Okay, if you could give us your name and address, and then I think Matt will walk through this application.
Donna DiMarzo, 282 Shaftesbury Road, Rochester, New York, 14610, and 1601 Penfield Road, Unit 19, for the pizza shop.
Thank you.
Good evening. So you want to move a pizza shop into a former pizza shop.
Correct.
Just making sure that I get this
That
correct.
sums it up. Yeah.
So, and this is down in Panorama Trail, and it's in a plaza.
Correct.
So it's safe to say there's adequate lighting, adequate
Very.
parking.
A
There's
lot.
several means of ingress and egress from the plaza, correct?
Yes.
What are your hours going to be?
Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 8.
Okay. Are you going to have any rock bands or live music or
No.
anything like that? Okay.
No.
And I think I said there's obviously plenty of parking. Are you going to be, I'll say you're not planning on making any significant changes to the interior, correct?
None.
What are you going to be selling besides pizza?
Fresh pasta and soup, salads, a couple sandwiches.
Okay. All right. Are you going to be selling alcohol?
Maybe down the road, beer and wine, but
Okay.
it's going to take too long to get a license, so I'm just going to wait till things calm down.
Okay. And are you going to have interior seating?
To go only 24 seats, correct.
To go?
Well, I mean, there'll be seating inside, yes.
Okay, okay. And
Just no service.
I gotcha. So they
Right.
order at like a counter and then they
Yes.
can bring it to their. Okay.
Correct, right.
Is there anything else you want us to know about this?
No, really, it's just basically pizzas, salads and pasta, and pretty much that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've got nothing further.
All right. Anything from the board? I don't think we have any comments via telephone or electronically, unless I'm mistaken, so I'll ask anyone in the audience care to speak about this application? No, okay. Well, then let's go ahead and proceed with the environmental.
Okay. I'll move to declare this a type 2 action requiring no further review.
I'll second.
All right, we have a seeker motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, and on the merits of the application?
This was a really tough one. But I will make a motion to approve it. It is clearly in harmony with the general purpose of the district. It's not going to be detrimental to the adjacent properties. It's going to move into, I mean, I'm fairly certain that the prior pizza shop came in here and we approved that. And it's certainly not going to be detrimental to the health, safety, or general welfare of the town or anybody around it. So I would make a motion to approve it.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve for the reasons stated in a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Can you spin the dough with one hand?
I certainly can.
No kidding.
The last 30 years.
When are you opening?
Well, now that I've got this, maybe the
Tomorrow?
next March.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
very much.
Good luck.
Take care.
That's it?
That's it?
Oh, yeah, give your check tomorrow.
What about us?
Sorry.
All right. By number 2, please.
Stephen LaFrance, 2604 Elmwood Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14618, on behalf of David Woodward, requests approval for an expansion to a nonconforming structure under Section 250-7.13 of the code, and an area variance under Section 250-14.3 of the code to allow additions to an existing residence with less front setback than required under Section 250-5.1-F1 of the code at 1371 Penfield Center Road. The property is currently or formerly owned by David Woodward and is zoned RA-2, SBL number 110.03-1-9. This is application number 22Z-0008.
Okay. If we could, both of us, give us your names and address for the
Steve
record.
LaFrance, I'm the architect of that. My name is on the application, but this is the man that owns the property, so.
Yeah, Dave Woodward, 1530 Harris Road, Penfield.
It's been a while since we've seen you in here, Dave.
You know, been to Haven.
Yeah. Well,
Excellent, thank you. Very thorough application. So a quick summary, from what I understand, you've got a home that's predates most likely zoning out of sense and setbacks that sits very close to the road right now, and you're looking to put a porch, or 2 porches on the front, I guess, or 2 little covered areas on the front, and then 1 to the rear. The rear of the house actually almost still requires a variance for the setback because it's actually that close to the road from what predates basically setback rules. So I see there. Talk a little bit about, I guess, the aesthetics. What's it going to, will the siding match the existing home? Are we going to re-side the home to match? What are the?
Over time, the whole house will get re-sided and windows. It'll just take a little time, as my daughter currently resides there.
Okay. And based on the drawings that I saw, it doesn't look like, or very, very, very little of this home is actually going to extend past the existing home. So, the way the design was, which I actually.
None of it's going to extend beyond.
Yeah, or it looks like maybe like 1/10 of a foot or something like that is that's about all it's extending past is because of the angle.
One corner.
So very little it looked like.
Well, the house is not exactly parallel to the right-of-way line, but we're going to continue the house's line. So the whole line of this whole addition is still going to be behind the right-of-way line. It's not going over. It's not. We're not intending to go any. Well, I guess on the left-hand corner, it's going a little closer.
I want to say it's
That's what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
Exactly. So
Inches.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
inches.
But I applaud you for, in a sense, keeping the design where now we're not moving beyond the existing home, because oftentimes people want to just go farther forward, and it looks like you tried to keep that into account when doing that design.
Right.
Are there any ways that we could have put porches on or done an addition to the rear without requiring any kind of variance?
Well, what the reason we wanted to go in the front, a couple reasons, is that there's the actual front entrance to that house actually goes into there's a porch there that's like 8 feet by or 5 feet by 15 there. And that's where the door goes in, so we get delivery people walking up to the house and leaving stuff on the steps and no one uses it, so it sits out in the rain for days, and then so trying to refocus the house, the entrance to the house with that new sidewalk that's coming off the driveway, and so that it becomes obvious that if you're a truck or a guest or somebody coming in the driveway, there's no visual cue that says, oh, that's the front of the house. The visual cue is going to be, oh, on the side of the house, that's the entrance. That's where the little portico roof is. That's where the steps are. The side of it goes to it. So, but we wanted to have the ability to unify the front of the house, because right now it's a 2-story box and it's got a little flat roof on it, and so we wanted to have something to tie everything together, and looks wise and function wise, so that you still can use that door to get in the house, but you'd get in, you would be from the porch, not from the street, not from the driveway. So we still want to be able to use that door. So that's one reason why the porch extends over, so that you can still use that as a door. And then we wanted it wider on the east side because obviously the porch toward the road is on the north, so you don't get sun over there. But on the east side, we're going to have sun. It's going to be more open, and that they could open the living room up to that, so that you could go from your living room out onto that 8-foot porch there and have some chairs and sit out there. So, and the wraparound porch is just kind of a nice aesthetic. You can see the front of the house there. It's just a shed, and we wanted to have it, it's obviously kind of stuck on. And so we want to have something that marries everything together so it looks intentional, which it will be. If we do it, it'll be intentional.
It'll be an improvement, you're saying?
Yeah, it'll be an improvement, and yes. And then we realize that they want to add some more living space in the rear. The house is basically L-shaped, and we kind of want to be able to fill in some of the L in the back of the house with actual living space. And because that's, within the setback line too, we wanted to get that all included in this variance act. We don't know exactly what we're doing in there yet, but we know we're going to do something in there. It's going to be living room space, family room space, mudroom closets space, but we don't want to come back, so we'd like to get it, the new finished space there, the blue area.
Perfect. Thank you. So it sounds like pretty much anything you would have had to have done to the exterior house for any changes or growth to this pre-existing home would require a variance or some kind of you would have to see this board. There's really not much you can do without it.
No matter what. Yeah.
So really, no matter what design you chose, no matter where you put an addition, you would need something except for maybe that small sliver in the rear.
Right, you could add on to the back of that.
To the back, but that makes a home, does that make a home very long?
Yeah, it's just not functional, and it's not improving the looks of the place, and we feel that it's not out of character. It's going to look better than it does now, much better, we think, yeah. And I think it'll be a nice, a covered porch is a very homey, country sort of.
That's very much in character with the neighborhood.
Yeah. So that's what we'd like to. That's what we're attempting.
Perfect. Any kind of, with the addition being so close to the front, any additional lighting at the street level that might impair drivers driving by or things like that?
No.
No. Okay. I think that's all I have.
Any other questions from the board?
What year was the home built?
Approximately like 1850.
Approximately.
Old.
I just don't remember, I wasn't, didn't watch it get constructed.
Pre-Civil War.
We're still in grade school, you don't remember?
Yeah. All right. Anyone in the audience care to speak about this application? And I don't have an indication that anybody, and no calls, so we don't have any calls and no electronic submissions either, so let's proceed with the environmental first.
Okay, I'll move this type 2 action, not subject to further review, under seeker.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion under seeker and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And on the merits?
The merits. So in reality, the majority of the home would require a variance no matter what they did to the home, except for that little small section in back. This home does predates zoning since this was built in the 1850s, approximately. And then, so it's difficult to really do anything without being in front of the zoning board here, and I think that's a pretty big consideration to think about in terms of how it lays out. The improvements will probably make it more in harmony with the country feel, the neighborhood area with the porches and things like that. And I don't think there's any way they could make any improvements without requiring a variance for this home. So with that, I move to approve these.
All right, I'll second that. We have a motion to approve for the reasons stated and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take
Good
care.
seeing you.
Ready for the next one?
Oh, absolutely.
David and Sarah Song, 168 Valley Green Drive, Penfield, New York, 14526. Request approval for an area variance under Section 250-14.3 of the code to allow a taller fence than permitted under Section 250-7.1-D of the code at 168 Valley Green Drive. Property is currently or formerly owned by David and Sarah Song and is zoned R-1-20, SBL number 124.20-2-94. This is application number 22Z-0009.
Hello, David Song, 168 Valley Green Drive, Penfield 14526.
Sarah Song.
Okay, great, thanks. You want to walk them through it, George?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So it's our understanding that you're looking to put a 6-foot fence along the frontage line in order to replace a series of pine trees that was performing the blocking function previously.
Correct.
Could you walk us through a little bit about the necessity of removing the trees and what you hope to accomplish by having the 6-foot fence versus the 3-foot fence that's allowed?
Sure. So when we moved into our house 8 years ago, there were actually 8 very tall, very full pine trees along that where we want to put this fence. It had great privacy, and that was one of the reasons we loved the house. You're probably aware in Penfield, a lot of pine trees have just been kind of dying, and so 2 pine trees had already been removed before last year, and just this past fall, 6 trees were removed. So there are no trees there anymore, and we would like to put up a 6-foot fence for the privacy, and we also have plans to improve our backyard in the future.
And that is a corner lot, correct?
It is.
So you do have the technically the frontage is on 2 sides of the house.
Exactly. So this is technically on the side frontage of the house. And yes, I forgot what else.
Yeah, Andy's doing his best.
Yeah. We just wanted to point out that this corner we are already in a no outlet zone, so it's kind of like a dead end. The only neighbors come into this area. There's no cross traffic. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the other questions I wanted to ask was I saw the photograph provided for the fence, the aesthetics of the fence and the color. Do you believe that will meet with kind of the aesthetics of the neighborhood and blend in?
Yes, we believe so. We've walked around the neighborhood and seen similar fences, and even installed by the same people.
Excellent. And have you had a chance to talk to any of the neighbors in the vicinity to kind of get their feelings on the fence and if they were okay with that?
Unfortunately, we have not. We haven't been out so much, obviously, because of the winter and COVID. We have not.
Okay. That is all the questions I had.
I know, I got one question. I noticed that in the forms that were provided, you guys didn't have a survey. Would you be opposed to having that as an actual survey from a surveyor saying this is where the lot, where the fence will be? Would there be any objection to getting a survey before, so that way, it's more to protect you too, because if you put it down and all of a sudden you're off by 6 inches, then you either have to tear it down or come back or do all those things. So it might be, a good idea, or potentially a suggestion is move it back a little bit farther than what you think from where you're applying for.
Right. That's a good point. We haven't we haven't planned on doing a survey for this. We were just going to go by the survey map that the old one that we've included in the application, and we wouldn't be against it if that was required. But obviously, we think we would probably put it at least a foot before where we think, just to be safe.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Andy, for staff? I know that's one of the comments that we saw, is that potentially the location of it might need to be verified a little bit better.
Yeah, we can confirm the width of the right-of-way, which is 60 feet. So measuring from the center of the right-of-way, half that distance will give us a pretty good.
Pretty good, and then they can stay a foot back and be safe?
Right.
Okay. That works.
Hey, Andy, could you go back to the Google picture for a minute? Yeah, that one there. So, we talk about right-of-ways and we talk about easements and property lines and such, but I want to make sure I know where you intend to put the fence. And if we could use maybe Andy's cursor and this, because the only concern that I have is traffic and safety issues with the site. And I don't think we're going to have any, but yeah, it's better with the, in my opinion anyway, with the Google.
With the Google, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe Andy, you can go up and down with your cursor and trace where the fence is going to be.
Pretty close to the front corner of the garage.
Yeah.
Out to the side.
Yeah.
And then up the property line here.
Okay, so let me ask you, between the blue line on the picture and the asphalt, how many feet is that?
It's about 20 feet.
20 feet. And so if the fence were to go there, do you see any issues with sight distance or sight problems with cars traveling? I know it's a no outlet, but coming down there and the fence blocking somebody's view of other traffic, children, whatever the case may be.
Sure, I do not see any problem with visibility. As I mentioned, previous to this, there were 8 very tall pine trees that actually extended beyond the easement by about 10 feet.
Yeah.
And there was never an issue.
Yeah, so
go ahead,
Dan,
George.
I actually drove down to take a look at the property and I called Andy today just to verify that very question. So I can tell you that the sight line even from the driveway, their own driveway and out, is also clear. I tested both that and the coming street.
Good. So just one final question. Why do you need the 6-foot fence? Why do you need the fence at all, and then why 6-foot fence?
We wanted the privacy. We're planning on putting an in-ground pool and fencing off the whole area.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. I don't see any indication that we have any comments. I'm sorry, is there any more questions from the board?
No.
I don't see any indication that we have anybody calling in. And now I do have indication that we don't have anybody calling in. And no electronic submission, so I think we can go ahead and proceed with the environmental seeker first.
In regards to the seeker, I would move to make this a type 2 action requiring no further review.
I'll second it.
Okay, so on the seeker, we have a motion to declare it a type 2 and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And on the merits?
Well, the fence is replacing coverage that was there initially on pine trees. It is there for privacy. It is technically the side yard, and I don't see any reason why there would be a problem with this based on having done an actual visual review as well. So I would move to approve.
Okay.
Yes, I would like to approve the condition of the additional foot that was agreed to ensure that we don't have a situation where it need to be reworked or reapproved.
I think we have to also know that this is a corner lot, so it's a unique situation where, you know, there's two fronts to this home.
Yep.
Actually, I think we approved one not all that long ago when Armateo Luster or something like that on something similar. I kind of remember, Andy.
And I think a pool requires.
Oh, absolutely.
And the pool requires a fence.
Taller than 3 foot.
Sure. Okay, so we have a motion to approve for the reasons stated, and I think we have a second, right? Any further discussion?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
This one, I think our applicants are on Zoom, so hopefully I don't screw this up.
It's been a while.
Matthew Newcomb, Passero Associates, 242 West Main Street, Suite 100, Rochester, New York, 14614. On behalf of Eagle Cleaners, requests approval for an area variance under Section 250-14.3 of the code to allow a building with less front setback than required under Section 250-5.6-D3 of the code, and approval for a special use permit for signage under Section 250-10.3-A of the code to allow a freestanding sign with less setback than required under Section 250-10.12D of the code at 1698 Penfield Road. The property is currently or formerly owned by Town Club of Rochester Incorporated and is zoned limited business. SBL number 139.05-1-52. This is application number 22Z-0010.
Okay, whoever's here on this application, if you can give us your name and address for the record.
Yes, Michael and Darlene Mitchke, the owners of Eagle Cleaners, residing at 259 LaSalle Drive in Webster.
Anyone else?
Yes, Matt Newcomb, Passero Associates, here on behalf of Mike as the civil engineer on the project.
Okay, and we also have Tony Snow. I believe he's in the audience.
Yeah,
From
Tony
Ducks.
Snow, 773 Daventry Circle, Webster. Just here to support any questions you may have regarding the signage.
Okay, well, thank you all. Again, a very thorough application. We appreciate that. And as I understand it, the plan is to, in essence, move down the street, so to speak, and redevelop a property and construct a new building and a new dry cleaning facility. There is a need for a variance because of an awning, which is going to stick out a little farther than the setback allows. And then also, I think, a variance required for a freestanding sign. So I think that's it. If somebody could just summarize what we're doing, and we'll see if the board or anybody else has any questions.
Yeah, sure, I can I can do that. My name is Matt Newcomb, Passero Associates. Our offices are 242 West Main Street, Rochester, New York. Mike has come to us with, he's growing, which is a great thing, needing more space to look at this particular piece of property to see what we can do to give him some more space, his own place. I think we've done a pretty good job of trying to lay this out. Again, one of the challenges we had, as you mentioned, is the front canopy that you see there in the picture is within the setback. As far as that goes, we did a pretty thorough analysis of all the different businesses along Penfield Road, and analyzed their distances from the right-of-way to the buildings. And it's actually fairly consistent with most of the businesses along Penfield Road. And in some cases, some of the other buildings or businesses are closer. The canopy is going to serve as kind of a drive-up, drive-through scenario where you drive under the canopy and you're able to drop off your laundry, dry cleaning, rather, and then drive through so that you don't have to get out of your vehicle. So that's the need or the desire for the canopy. Yep, showing the elevations there. And then in regard to the sign, again, very similar analysis that took place to kind of look at some of the other signs that are along Penfield Road. Again, it's one of those places where exposure is key. So that's the purpose for wanting a variance for the setback. It's very consistent with a lot of the other businesses along Penfield Road as well, both in height and distance from the right-of-way line. So that's really the need and the purpose for that. The size of the sign meets the zoning requirements. It's only the location, the size and the height to meet the zoning requirements. So that's a brief overview. Mike, if I missed anything, feel free to chime in.
You did a great job, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the only question that I have, and it applies to both the canopy and the sign, you've done a very good job of reciting other properties down there and making the comparison, but are there any issues that need to be addressed regarding safety with either the canopy being closer and or the sign?
In our opinion, no. One of the things we try to do is try to utilize as much of the existing pavement as possible. All these things kind of came into play, trying not to disturb more property, more green space, and to really make this work. So that's part of the reason why it ended up where it was. And from a safety perspective, again, signage along Penfield Road is pretty consistent in that location. So I would assume that if there were a problem previously, we would know about it. So there's no concerns in either of those regards.
Okay, any further questions from the board? Go ahead, Laura.
I just had a question regarding the sign. If you go back to your drawing, it has a sign on the building and then a freestanding sign. Will there be two signs then? Is that?
Yeah, they're allowed a building sign and a freestanding sign. So,
but those will both be then?
Right, and both of them we'd apply for both in one permit, but this is the one that needs the variance for approval. So, but both would comply to the square footage, restrictions.
Yep. It's the location of the freestanding sign that's the issue.
It's the setbacks.
Right.
We don't have adequate setback on the front and side, I believe.
How did you choose your location for that pole-mounted sign in terms of right in the corner lot versus in the center?
So it has a lot to do, if you look at the center area, it has a lot to do with parking. And again, we were trying to repurpose the existing pavement, trying not to add impervious area. So we were really trying to work with what we had. If we were to place it in the center, you can see there's a sidewalk that continues along Penfield Road. And then obviously we placed some parking there along with our handicap parking. Again, we could have eliminated one of the parking spaces, but then we'd be more or less asking for a variance for parking. And Mike really needs the parking spaces for his staff. So that was part of the reason why we're choosing a spot that's much less desirable for parking in the lower left corner.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from the board?
No.
I don't believe we have any call-in questions, and that belief has been corroborated. So I think we're good to move on with the deliberations here. So as far as the environmental is concerned, I would make a motion to declare this an unlisted action and further to declare a negative declaration that there are no significant impacts on the environment.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion on the seeker? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And as far as the merits, I would make a motion to approve. I think what we have here is an very well-run, excellent business, simply moving down the road and taking advantage of a location that can be made even better. And I don't see any issue whatsoever with the canopy extending further into the setback. As the engineer has pointed out, it is a commercial area, and the requests here are very similar to other businesses that we have in the area. So I see no safety issues or parking issues or anything along those lines. And for those reasons, I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay.
You got it, he beat me.
All right, so we have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Andy has something to
I
say.
could add, they do have an application that's pending before the planning board, so I'd suggest maybe one of the conditions be that the variance is conditioned upon approval of the planning board.
Fair enough. We'll add that to my motion if we might. Okay, with that addition, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And nobody opposed? All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay,
for your
take care.
time.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I think that was the last application. So with that, we'll stand adjourned and see you next month.
Night.
Very good. Well done.